Hello, everybody. Rhys Jenkins here at Neurodifference Podcast. I know what you might be thinking. What business conference have you been to today? If you happen to comment that I look like an old man, you'd be right. Old men rule. They rock. Welcome to the Neurodifference Podcast, where we dive into all things neurodivergence, breaking stigma, embracing strengths, and having the conversations that really matter. I'm Rhys Jenkins, and today we're talking about something that affects so many neurodivergent people. The fact that I'm saying that I'm Rhys Jenkins so often. I promise I'll fix that. What we're talking about today that affects so many neurodivergent people, often without them realizing it, is what I like to call masking. Now, masking is when neurodivergent people suppress their natural behaviors to fit into neurotypical expectations. It's like wearing an invisible costume just to blend in. This is something I felt I must do when I was in church as a kid, when I was in a club, when I was around 20. Don't worry, I didn't get that drunk often. But here's the big question. Doesn't everyone mask? And is masking necessarily a bad thing? This is what we're going to be breaking down today. Starting with, what is masking? So let's start with the basics. Masking is when autistic and ADHD individuals, neurodiverse individuals, I would say, consciously or unconsciously suppress their natural traits to conform to expected social norms. This can mean forcing eye contact, mimicking small talk, hiding stims, or changing the way you express emotions to match what's seen as normal. Personally, I would also like to add socially conventional as well as normal. For me, making the right amount of eye contact is something that I think about a lot as a 33-year-old adult. I do my best not to stare, therefore looking weird. But on the opposite side, I try my best to make enough eye contact to signify that I am engaged in the conversation. So for another example, for instance, an autistic person who naturally avoids eye contact might force themselves to maintain it because they've been told that it's polite. Or someone with ADHD might suppress their excitement or impulsivity in conversations to avoid seeming too much. A study by Hull et al. In 2017 introduced the Camouflaging Autistic Traits Questionnaire, CAT-Q, which measures how often autistic people mask. The study found that higher levels of masking were directly linked to increased anxiety, depression, and lower mental well-being. But isn't that just normal behavior? Isn't everyone adapting to social situations? That brings us to our next big question. Doesn't everyone mask? This question is asked a lot, and the short answer is yes, but not in the same way. Everyone adjusts their behavior in certain social situations. A neurotypical person might act more professional in a job interview or hold back certain opinions at a family gathering. The difference is that neurodivergent masking is often constant and deeply ingrained. Neurotypical masking, it's important to know that neurotypical masking is situational. A neurotypical person may shift their behavior for a short period, but still feel like themselves. Whereas neurodivergent masking is chronic. Many autistic, ADHD, neurodiverse individuals feel that they must mask nearly all of the time, across all settings, just to be accepted or avoid negative consequences. This has had a profound impact on my life. From the way I form relationships to how I tackle social situations. I remember once at a networking event recently, today as it happens, that I was disappointed that I didn't articulate a point about complaints about a service. I felt I indicated that a service got that particular service got complaints because it was bad when what I actually tried to say was that through autism training, that organization can limit complaints by emphasizing ways in which they were great, ways in which they were accessible to neurodiverse people. A study by Lai et al. In 2016 found that autistic individuals who mask heavily often experience identity confusion, delayed diagnosis, and increased suicidal thoughts due to the emotional exhaustion caused by masking. The study emphasizes that while masking helps in social situations, it comes at a severe mental health cost. So, why do people mask? It often starts as a survival strategy. Many of us learn, sometimes from a young age, that being ourselves can lead to bullying, social exclusion, or even punishment. In terms of common reasons why people mask, avoiding bullying or discrimination is a big one. Many neurodivergent children and adults face social rejection if they don't mask. This can be especially prevalent in primary and secondary school. Trying to fit in and be accepted, masking can make social interactions easier in the short term. However, and I learned this in university, it can be very tiring to maintain. I would often come home from socials very tired with mental fatigue. Professional academic expectations. Many workplaces and schools often don't accommodate neurodivergent traits. Safety concerns. In some cases, being openly neurodivergent can lead to real-world dangers. In 2019, a study by Mandy found that autistic women and girls are more likely to mask than autistic men, leading to underdiagnosis and significant distress. This suggests that masking is not only about fitting in, but also about being believed and validated. It's also important to acknowledge intersectionality, people of color, individuals in the LGBTQ plus community, and those from working class backgrounds. They can often face additional layers of pressure to mask in order to avoid discrimination or be taken seriously. To give you an example, TV presenter Melanie Sykes, who was diagnosed as autistic in her 50s, has spoken openly about her experience with masking. She described how years of performing a neurotypical version of herself on screen left her emotionally exhausted. In interviews, she said, "I don't know who I really was without the mask." Her story is one of many that reveal how high the cost of fitting in can be. Now, here's where masking gets tricky, the hidden costs of masking. It comes at a cost. While it might help someone avoid immediate social struggles, it can take a major toll on someone's mental health. Burnout and exhaustion. Constantly suppressing your true self is mentally and emotionally draining. Mental health struggles. Masking is linked to anxiety, depression, and even identity crises. Loss of self-identity. After years of masking, some people don't even know who they really are. This, I think, is very, very tragic. As in my experience, neurodiverse people are some of the most honest people I know. Delayed diagnosis or misdiagnosis, especially in women and people of color, who often go undiagnosed because they don't seem neurodiverse, autistic, or ADHD enough. In 2020, Livingston et al. Found that autistic individuals who mask extensively often suffer from chronic burnout, social exhaustion, and increased mental health struggles, making it harder to form genuine relationships. The study describes masking as a double-edged sword, helpful in the short term, but damaging long term. Of course, some people feel masking helps them get through professional and social situations. It can be a useful tool when navigating environments that aren't fully inclusive, but at what cost? And is there a way to balance adaptation and authenticity? So if masking is harmful, how do we start unmasking? And how do we create a world where neurodivergent people don't feel like they have to mask just to be accepted? It's important to know, in terms of unmasking safely, in terms of self-awareness, to recognize when and where you're masking. Finding environments where you feel comfortable being your full self. This, I think, can be facilitated by training courses in autism, ADHD, or any neurodiverse condition. Groups such as Neath Autism Hub are also very, very helpful in this. And also a big shout out to Autism Hidden Voices in that respect. Giving yourself permission to engage in your natural behaviors, being open-minded as to stims is also very important. Also, the more that we talk about masking, the more we normalize different ways of being. And this is where TED Talks, training courses, and media representation of an autistic character becomes really important. In 2022, Kukovsky highlighted that, and other authors highlighted that neurodiverse individuals also mask, particularly in professional settings, to suppress impulsivity and hyperactivity, often leading to stress and imposter syndrome. It's particularly affected those with ADHD minds. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards unmasking. Have you experienced masking? How does it affect you? Please share your stories with us on social media or drop us a message. We'd love to hear your perspective. Your voice matters, and your story could help someone else feel less alone. Before we go, here's something to reflect on. When do you feel most like your true self? And what would it take to feel that way more often? If you found this episode helpful, then please do us a favor at Neurodifference. Share it, leave a review, and subscribe for more honest conversations on neurodiversity. Before I go into what we'll be covering next time, I would like to take this moment to to thank my co-writer Maelona Betts for providing an amazing script. Next time, we'll be exploring media representation and autism. Hang on to your hats, folks. It's gonna be emotional. Until then, be kind to your mind, stay curious, honor your authentic self, and you will make a positive neurodifference.